Okay. Good evening, everyone. Well, it's good afternoon over in Minnesota. With Candicia Scott, and good evening to Amanda Crawford and Ali McIntyre. We also hope to be joined later on by Ronnie Oliver, who is celebrating his birthday today. So we want to wish Ronnie Oliver a happy birthday. Hopefully he'll get to join us. In fact, he is in Grenada and he's expecting to join us very soon. By way of introduction, let's start with the ladies first and probably give it in to Candicia Scott. Good evening, good afternoon to you, Candicia.
Hi, good afternoon.
And how things doing? How things going with you?
Not too bad.
Okay. And how it has been for you? Or let's just look at today. How it has been today? What's the weather like over in Minnesota?
Surprisingly, kind of warm.
Oh,
Uh,
it's working.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's go over to Amanda. Amanda seems to be on the go. Good evening to you, Amanda.
Hi. Everything's pretty good. I've been working out and everything at home, trying to keep away from people. So everything's been pretty good.
Okay. Nice to hear that. And Ali, how things?
As normal as can be, man. In this pandemic time, yeah, trust me. Just do my best to stay healthy and stay sharp and ready.
Okay then. All right then. So as we said, the Ronnie will join us a little later on. It's Ronnie's Oliver's birthday, and we really would like to wish him a happy birthday. And we like to speak to the to the student athletes, as we'll call them, congratulate them once first of all for reaching thus far, and hoping that they will move on from strength to strength in whatever they plan to do. I don't know what. Hopefully, they will be able to tell us what's their plans are for in the future. But let's start off with going back again with Kandisha, and probably start by telling us what you have been doing at the start of the year, probably for the start of the season. I know you have. I think you redshirted for this season, for the last season that went, but you have been more involved in your academics. So tell us what it was like for you for the start of the year.
Starting off the year, well, as most know, I just came out of surgery in August, so I was on like a 9 month schedule to return back to track and field and getting completely cleared in 9 months. So at the start of the year, I was just basically starting to get back to doing some running stuff on the boost treadmill and stuff like that. School wise, it's been a lot. It's it was hectic, but uh, just managed to push through just enough to complete my degree.
Okay, and Amanda, what it has been like for you?
Um, uh,
Well, basically, let's look at the start of the year. What it was like for you for the start
Hello,
of the year.
I'm having some connection issues.
Okay, so you're hearing us now?
Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us what it has been like for the start of the year for you, Amanda.
Um, what it's like at the start of the year.
Yeah, for the start of the year.
Oh, what it's been like. Um, everything was pretty good. Season was going really well for me. Fastest indoor that I've ever had. And when my team went off to nationals, we were told that we couldn't practice anymore, and there was going to be no nationals meet. Kind of put a sad spirit over the team because everyone's like, okay, well, what's next? What do we do? Do we leave practice? Like, what's the next step for us? So after that, we never had a practice again, and they welcomed us to come back. Um, and they just said that we're going to do our best to make sure that everyone gets close to the same or the same amount of scholarship that they had before. So I'm glad I went to this school because they really took care of their athletes. A lot of the schools haven't done that and kind of shied away. So I'm happy that I went to the school that I went to.
Okay then. And over to you, Ali. Here in New York, just as much the indoor season was probably on your mind.
Yeah, actually, it was in full swing, but in January, it seemed like the first week I got sick with the flu, so I had to basically sit out that entire month of January while I recover. Some say it was the COVID, I don't know, but it was terrible. So I was out for the entire January, and I had to do a lot of catch up. So the work was tedious, it was extensive, to get back on track to where I was. Um, but coming down to like February, the end of February into March, that was in peak season, and it just so happened that the whole COVID issue started, and it just went downhill from there. Because after CUNY Champs, that was in March, I qualified for nationals again. I was even all the way down in North Carolina already, and then we just got a call, yo, it's canceled, and we just basically had to turn around and go back home. That was a real cut punch to me. It's like you work so hard to come back, and then to just be told that that's it for you for the season. It's kind of tough. But I mean, I still have life, I still have strength. So I just thanking God for that.
Okay. And I know it's was a tough decision for you, Candisha, in terms of marrying that academics and the track and field. What decision you made in terms of whether you should pursue your academics and leave track and field for a while, or we call it redshirted for a while, or whatever? What was the decision you made in terms of the track and field and the academics?
Well, last year I had to redshirt mainly because the NCAA only gave me 1 year at a Division 1 school. So the plan was to redshirt 2019 and then compete in 2020. But like unfortunately, COVID happened and I still wasn't able to compete this year. So I've graduated from the University of Minnesota without even competing for them once. Uh, so far, right now, the plan is to just try to transfer to another school to do my master's, so then I could spend that year getting to compete for another school.
Okay, we'll get into some of the competition because I'm wondering whether Kandisha still has that strength in her arms, But Amanda, what it is with you in terms of preparing for the season? I know you're always eager to compete. What it was like preparing for the season and then having probably to change all plans and just concentrate on academics because there was sooner or later there was a lockdown.
Um, it wasn't that tough for me, mainly because I wasn't going to nationals, and that was the meet that everyone else was preparing for. You kind of get a little break before outdoor, and that's when everything was announced by NCAA. It wasn't that tough for me. It was a little better. It was like a blessing in disguise for me because the master's program that I was in was pretty tough, so it gave me some time to buckle down and not have to worry about practice, things like that. So.
Okay. And let me Ali, in just looking back at the start of the year, in that, how did this in any way affected the season, especially when you had your goals set, um, in terms of competition? I know in terms of the academics, it will always be there, whether it's online or in classroom. But in terms of competition, how in terms of the entire pandemic and the shutting down of New York City in particular, shutting down of most of the places, and the lockdown in particular, how has that affected your season?
Yeah, it affected it um, drastically because basically everything had to basically restart. So knowing that I'm not able to compete I had to go back to basically like off-season kind of training with a little in-season because you still have that hope that something may or may happen. So yeah, it changed up everything. So right now, I'm still preparing as if I'm going to compete, but it's more like a hybrid kind of preparation.
Mhm. And for you, Amanda, is it the same in terms of having to refocus when it came to the lockdown?
Um, for me, it's easier for me than living in Texas because I get to stay close to family. Um, Texas doesn't have as many restrictions as New York does. Um, Everything is basically open in Texas, and they're just keeping the 6 feet. But nail salons and hair salons and everything are still open. Um, as in here, it's like nothing is open. So, I mean, to me, it's not bad because I get to be close to home. I'm not just in another state by myself. So, I'd rather it this way than probably any other way.
Okay then. And Kandisha, you started to talk about plans for the future. So probably in more detail, what are some of the plans you have for the future in terms of you mentioned about pursuing your masters and getting back into track and field. What give us some more details about that.
Um, well, the master's program I'm planning to enter into, most likely it would be sports management, which I did my BS in human resource development. Originally, when I came to the University of Minnesota, I wanted to do sports management, but because of some technical difficulties from my junior college and the classes that I did there, I wasn't able to get into sports management. So I'm going to try to do that as a master's at my next school. Um, so far, I'm looking at the University of Louisiana Monroe, which is a D1. So yeah.
Okay. And and Ali.
I hear all of them talking school and thing. Mike, I need to give school a break right now. I try to focus more on track and field. I'm still working with the school, so yeah, I'm trying to dedicate more time to getting better. Doing a lot of technical stuff and working on my speed endurance and everything like that. So yeah, for me, it's the future plan is more training, smart training, harder training, and yeah, just take it one day at a time.
Okay. And while we have you, Ali, the in the news of recent, I show you very much aware of that in the news of recent. It has to do with the whole issue with the Black Lives Matter and all that has been happening around the recent protest and awareness of racism in the United States. How did as a young black athlete, have you experienced any racial issues during your college career? And if you did, how in any way did this impact your understanding of the current situation regarding racial inequalities?
Yeah, as an athlete, I have never experienced any kind of racism or any kind of racial thing in track and field. Like every track meet you go to, everybody's welcoming, everybody's come for one thing, just to win, just to compete. But yeah, but seeing what's happening now, it's really eye opening as to what is out there in the world, especially in America. You gotta always be on your P's and Q's. And basically, the lesson I've learned throughout this is just respect your authorities, because the moment time you start showing resistance or anything like that, then things just become flipped. You end up on the bad end of the stick. So it's basically you just show them respect and just show them, give them the authority that they so deserve.
Okay. And Amanda, in your case, have you had the experience of any racism? I know you have been all over, and especially in a place as Texas. Well, you have been in North Carolina. You have been in now you're in Texas. Have you had that sort of experience?
So I started off in Alabama. I can't recall me ever experiencing any racial issues or anything like that in Texas either. I was fortunate enough to go to a HBCU for 2 years, and I didn't experience anything like that there because most of the people, it's a predominantly black college. So I have never experienced anything like that being an athlete or just being a regular individual. Um, but I feel for people who do.
Okay. And Kandisha, you have basically been in the midst, in the belly of all things in Minnesota, and I assume probably not too far from all the action. Tell us what it has been like, whether or not you have experienced that first of all, and then give us a little more about what you have witnessed over the past few weeks being in Minnesota and Minneapolis.
Personally, I haven't had that experience. Well, I should say like directly to me. I've seen it happen, but just not to me. So with this whole thing starting recently, for example, uh, after the death of George Floyd, there was a peaceful protest at the school with one of the black communities that the school is involved with. Um, I decided to went, and then we basically took a stroll down to the police station and was like right in front of the station, and then all of a sudden, like all the police guards came out with guns and buttons, and I don't know, like when that happened, I personally just got scared, and I was like, all right, I think this is it for me. I don't want to be in the midst of this, even if it was a peaceful protest. I just didn't want to be there, so I just packed up and left. So yeah.
Okay. But were you shaking? Were you that sort of experience? You were shaking.
I wouldn't say shaken, just a little scared. Um, like while I was there, the only thing that like ran through my head after they started coming out was, all right, I don't want to be the next one on the floor with a nail in my, my neck or anything like that. So
Okay, then. All right. Well, while we're on that, Kandisha, let's talk a bit about your plans to get back into track and field. So, how in moving forward, how do you plan? Seeing as you have been off for a while, what is the game plan for Kandisha to be back into the competitive mode?
I wouldn't say that I was off. It just
Well, competing.
competition. Yeah. So well, like even when I redshirted, I still compete. I just didn't compete for the school. I competed unattached. Not much meets, but I still got the chance to compete. Um, for 2020, I was really looking forward for the outdoors. Like the day that nationals was about to happen, I was actually here and was just like, okay, it's time to get back in the mood, the groove for everything. Um, Only to find out that I wouldn't get to compete. But I have been doing like technical stuff, working on fitness, working on my technique. I think I would say the hardest thing right now is basically finding a school and a coach that will be able to work with me to get me where I'm supposed to be because of all the barriers that I have had before. Uh, Knee surgery, um, I think that's the biggest thing though, just finding somebody to work with that could get me that fitness that I need, because I know like since I've been out for a while, then even if I feel fit now, I know in reality there would be some lacking. So it's just to find that fitness back, get back my technique on track, uh, and that is it. I mean, like mentally, I'm ready for anything that comes my way. So it's just to find the right person to work with.
Okay, and you sticking with the javelin, or you're moving around the throws?
Uh, just javelin.
Just javelin. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Amanda, what's the plan in terms of competition? I know you have completed the masters, and I don't know if you're looking at doing you know into the doctorate or whatever it is like that, continue your studies. But in terms of competition, what is in store for Amanda?
What I think I'm gonna do, or what I've been leaning towards, is going to school just to keep the the amount of discipline that um, being in a collegiate setting has. Just the cycle of school, practice, school, practice, school, practice. I think it's positive for me. Um, what I think I'm gonna do is do a certificate and then run for that year and see how it goes, and really pursue the Olympics and see how things like that go, and international meets and things like that.
Okay. And Ali, what are the plans for you for in terms of competition?
Yeah, well, it's expected that we may have a track and field season later this year, like August, July, September. So yeah, so hopefully, if all goes well, then I could compete at that time. So yeah, I'm preparing right now for anything, but yeah, so I'm ready to run whenever.
What you say are the challenges, Ali, in terms of being in New York and having competition? Unlike those in the West, Texas, and probably down Florida and those places. So,
I think we had more restrictions, so it was harder to actually go outside to do work in the beginning. Like especially like the technical stuff on the track. Yeah, that's the hardest stuff. And then no, not having access to the gym is even worse. So yeah, New York in itself, and because of the weather also, we have a pretty prolonged winter season, so it, it's much harder to train in New York, but I'm still trying to make my best out of it.
okay, and both to Kandisha and Amanda, in terms of what you're looking at in the future, is it within the state in terms of Minnesota, and Amanda, are you remaining in Texas, or are you looking at somewhere, some other state?
Um, I believe I'm gonna stay in Texas for a little while, and just because this is where I've seen the most athletic progress, or close to that, and that's what I think I'm gonna do for the near future. It's kind of hard to say because everything is just so uncertain right now, but that's what I believe will happen.
And Kandisha?
Um, like this has been the most stressful thing for me. Like, um, Minnesota, they had planned to keep me even after the news of COVID and not being able to compete this year. They had planned to allow me to come back next year to compete for them. But unfortunately, the administration sent out an email saying that no seniors will be allowed to stay. So they had to let go of all the senior athletes. So right now, I'm just looking at Louisiana. So I'll be moving from Minnesota to most likely Louisiana in the fall.
Okay. Yeah, no. And you have, again, as you said, your main focus now is on finding a coach
Yeah,
and the program.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if I had a chance, I would probably train elsewhere. just because the weather might be a lot better, so you could train more outside. Yeah, like somewhere down south, probably Texas, Arizona, probably Vegas.
Is it?
Somewhere besides New York, New York too tough, boy.
Are you trying
Too
to
hard.
get close to Amanda
Nah,
and
not even,
Kandisha?
not even. Nah. If I could go in the desert and train, I'll go in the desert.
But what it has been like for you all as athletes in terms of keeping in touch, keeping even through the pandemic, keeping in touch, finding out from other athletes, especially Grenadian athletes, how they're doing and how they're coping, how it has been like.
I mean, Amanda doesn't answer any of our calls, so uh,
I know. I know. Hazeland rages because she has been the one who has been, she has been in touch with me as a matter of fact, and trying to make sure that the athletes are okay. In fact, she is the one who actually got me to do this. Kirani, for example, I always in touch with Kirani and Braylon and all the other athletes. Even Joe, um, Rondell, who's in Grenada. Always keep in touch with the athletes, knowing what they're doing, and how they're coping, especially during this time. It has been a very difficult time. We have just sometimes we hearing the worst of people in terms of someone passed. So it was important for us to keep in touch with each other. Um, but
Hmm.
in all this conversation, how soon we can expect any one of you all to be back out? I know they're reopening in various phases. New York, for example, is opening. I think phase 2 is coming up on Monday. Playgrounds will be opening soon. So I don't know in terms of Amanda and Kandisha and even Ali, what are the plans in terms of getting back? Well, I can say for Ali because I think almost every day Ali is somewhere out training.
I can hear to Blasio and them can hear that today. But yeah, I've been out, I've been out training hard, like every 3 days, 4 days a week. I'm outside it. And it's always good to have people, on the same path with you that have the same mindset. It's always good and encouraging because during this time it could be really depressing. It could be demotivating, but have surround yourself with people that can lift you up and have the same drive and ambition as you. So yeah, I have some good people around.
All right. And Amanda and Kandisha?
um, so the school is basically going to start back opening up their facilities to us around July 28th. So that would be good. But thus far, I've been like, there's this step close to where I live that I normally use to run, which helped me with my fitness and my knee at the same time. So I've been doing that, and then I've been creating some like home exercises that I've been doing at home. I got some like med balls from Amazon that I use to help with flexibility and keep my hand active, and like some resistant bands and stuff like that. So I guess it's just knowing what you want and knowing where you're headed and making sure that you're doing everything to get there despite the situation that you're in right now.
Okay, and Amanda?
For me, I think I'm going to continue my home workouts for a while. Um, they haven't. I think they released NCAA released a statement basically saying that we can resume practice I think in the start of July. So when that happens, I'll go, or when they confirm that the money is where it's supposed to be, the budget is right, then I'll go back to Texas. But for now, I'm just doing homework. I was trying to stay safe, and you know, it's scary right now.
Um, you had in mind, Amanda, you had in mind prior to the pandemic, or you had something big in mind in terms of competition, whether it was at the time
Yeah,
the
well,
Olympics or anything like that?
goal this year was to make it to the Olympics and to shave 2 seconds off of my time. That was my goal this year, and things were going really well. I ran an indoor PR, and I was really looking forward to the season. So it kind of sucks, but
Okay. And both Ali and Kandisha, 2021 will be a very important year. Well, lots of competition. There's the Olympics in particular, and all that was cancelled this year will probably be try to be fit into 2021. And some of the other competitions, like 2021, we know would have been the World Championships in the US. That too will be affected because of the Tokyo Olympics. What it is in your mind in terms of, yes, you're getting back into competition, but what it is in your mind in terms of bigger competition?
I think the goal of every athlete is to reach the highest point possible, the pinnacle of the sport, which is the Olympic Games. I mean, knowing that was canceled, I think the COVID did us. I guess some of us, it was a blessing in disguise. It actually bought us some more time to prepare. So if it was behind, I guess it got some more time, to catch up and surpass where you were expected to be. So I think it's a blessing in disguise, and my hopes and my aspiration is still to make the Olympic team.
I'd have to agree with Ali on that. I feel like this extra year will do me a huge favor into uh getting back up there and being able to put out marks that I know I have not been given the chance to do so far since I started university. So my main priority right now is just get back out there, do what I have to do, whatever it takes to reach where I want to reach, which is the Olympics as usual. So yeah.
Oh, I think we have lost Amanda for just a while, but just to let you know that Ronnie Oliver should have been with us, but he is actually, it's his birthday today. Happy birthday to you, Ronnie Oliver. Ronnie Oliver, as you know, out of Texas, but he is actually in Grenada. I thought for somehow Ronnie was still in Texas. So when I contacted him, he says he happened to get out of Texas just before and arrive in Grenada just before they close. Yeah, smart guy he was.
He was one of those lucky ones, eh?
Yeah, he was one of the lucky ones in terms of getting in and getting out. But he has been using the opportunity to keep himself in shape. I would have seen some photos of him and video of him, training. I guess as a sprinter, you have to keep yourself in shape. So that is something I probably want to ask both of you in terms of how disciplined it is to maintain that training regime. Even in the case of you, Kandisha, even though you were not competing competitively, I know you had one or two competition, as you say, you're redshirted. But how it is, you maintain that discipline in terms of going out and training and being fit.
I think it's just a mindset. Like even if I wasn't required to compete, I was still required as an athlete in the school to attend every single training there is. Um, there was a no exception for me, even if I wasn't competing. So it was just as any other normal student athlete attending training on time every single day, doing what you have to do, exerting 110% effort into the training that you're doing. So um, I guess it's just as anything else, just doing what you have to, doing what is expected of you, and so on.
And Ali?
Yeah, yeah. The level of discipline and dedication is beyond extreme, because especially in New York, because we only have two facilities. in Park Slope and Manhattan, and basically you cannot even use spikes in there. So it's really tough, and it's only one of two times. You either go early morning or late in the night, and trying to balance the track and field with school and those kind of training hours is kind of weird. It was hard to adjust at first, but then after, once life starts becoming normal and things just start falling in place. But it is very difficult, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot of dedication to be successful.
Okay, and Amanda is back with us, and probably I can ask Amanda that question in terms of keeping yourself focused in terms of training, competition. How do you do that, Amanda? How do you maintain this positive focus for in terms of your fitness?
I really think it's who you surround yourself with, and if it's good company and people who actually love the sport, then you'll always be encouraged to do the right things. What I think.
Okay. And Ali, she mentioned about the people around you. I know you actually train with a number of other athletes. You prefer to train with a group of athletes, or you enjoy just doing it yourself?
Now, I prefer to train with my boys and Jeremy and Alon Gordon, Kim, Kevin, Andre. These guys, they really motivate me, and everybody on that team is a winner, basically. So that's our goal. We strive to do the best every time we hit the track, and it's a great group of guys, trust me.
Okay, and and Candicia, in terms of the javelin, I mean, I know it's so much you have to do in terms of the strength and all this before you even go out to do your throws. Give us a little idea of what it takes in terms of remaining that competitive.
Um, to be honest, I can't take all the credit. Like here at Minnesota, uh, we basically say we're a family at the track team. So it's not just me. So there is the coach, then there is the strength trainer, then I have my athletic trainer, which I've been working a lot with each individual. Like they've come up with a plan to help me get back on track. So it's been a journey. Uh, Cam in the weight room, he have been personalizing my training differently from others because of my injury and so on, and it has been helping me a lot. Keeping my strength where I need it, and actually uh, focusing on my knee as well to help the rehab process, getting back the strength in it. Then there is Brady, the athletic trainer. Um, it has been stressful knowing say all right, I've been up there and now I'm all the way down here now. So our me and his process was basically different to the others because I basically spent hours in the rehab room doing rehab stuff, knowing he sometimes had to motivate me when I'm ready to give up sometimes. So it's been hectic, but I guess when you have people looking out for you and they know what you plan to achieve in life, then the process is easier to achieve when you have people looking out for you as well, especially when they know what you want. So it's like the coach as well. Like sometimes I'll sit in his office just talking to him about my day, some of the struggles I'm going through, and it helped. Like my personal life, it has affected my athletic career. So being able to talk to someone that is connected to you in both ways, it really helps.
Any 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 anytime you had intentions of calling it quits? I mean, the way you
Yeah,
sound, as if you were on the verge of giving up at times.
yeah. There was a few times. I was just like, all right. I mean, like people that know me well, they knew that this injury been happening from since 2013. It happened at Carifta, and like because of funds, I guess I wasn't able to take care of it until now. When I entered the University of Minnesota, I did an MRI, and then they realized that my ACL is gone. Like I've been uh competing, doing all sorts of stuff without an ACL before, and I didn't even know. So coming here, I was able to get it done and take care of it. But like as the doctor said, no, that it's as good as new and it's as the best it could have been in years. So right now, I just had to trust in myself to get back up there and just push through. And when I finally get through everything, then I'll start reaping the benefits. Because like he even mentioned to me and was like, if you could have been competing like this for the years past, and you haven't even like recognized something is up with your knee, like something this huge, and you've been like competing, lifting heavy and all sorts of stuff and going through the like especially, and he even mentioned like the javelin could have it could have been worse. Like any little movement with the javelin technique could have gotten me down for good, and it didn't. So right now that it's recuperated, I guess that the main thing is just to stay active, keep at it, push through the barriers. Yeah, sometimes mentally it's tough, but I feel like once I get through it, then it's a go for me. So
Um, let me, Amanda. I don't want to ask you about whether you had plans of giving up, but what I should ask you is that do you miss wearing the Grenada colors? You compete with Grenada?
I think she missed that question.
Oh, Amanda.
yeah.
Oh well, while we wait for Amanda, let's welcome. I have a surprise for you all.
Surprise.
Welcome.
You come to surprises.
Well, a surprise for our viewers that
Ah,
Adrian is with us. I don't know if you remember. Wow, look at her in a tiger.
Hi,
Hey.
How are
hey.
you, Israel? How are you? How are
I
you?
I am doing great. I apologize, y'all. I just finished an educational webinar and I am just so grateful to be here with y'all right now. I apologize. I did intend on attending, and thank you for reminding me again, Michael.
Right, right. And well, we have just been chatting with the athletes in terms of because three of them now because Ronnie Olivier, who should have joined us, is actually in Grenada. Today is actually his birthday, so he's
Okay.
celebrating, and he's excused, for that. But both, well, I shouldn't say both, but Amanda and Candisha and Ali, along with Ronnie, they have all completed their degrees. They have graduated, and in some cases, will be moving on to do graduate studies and competition. So probably, it, Israel probably is a nice time for you. Probably by way of introduction. I shouldn't say introduction because there's no reason I should be introducing Hazelland. Hazelland is well top sprinters in years gone by. She blazed the trail along with Aline Francisque and others, and probably laid the foundation for a lot of our student athletes. Hazelland, probably you can start by telling us how it has been like for you as a student athlete back in the days at
Honest,
LSU.
honest, honestly, guys, honestly, when I think about being an athlete, I think about you. In order to be an athlete, you have to be a great student. For those of you who don't know, Denise Williams was our coach, and she did not play. She really molded us by letting us know that, hey, if you want to be successful in life, you're going to first have to be a great student. And as long as you're a great student and you have that talent, the athletic part would follow. So for me, with all the training, with all the advice from not just my coach Denise Williams, my family, and all of the great educators at St. David's Catholic Secondary School, it was a no-brainer. We all wanted the same thing. We all wanted to travel. We all wanted to participate in sports. We all wanted to do well. We all wanted to get an education at the end of the day. So it was just more so, what exactly did you want, and how hard are you going to work for it? Um, Myself, Kishara George, Misu Francis, Kanisha Joseph, a ton of us, all of us went ahead and got an education because we knew in order to be great athletes, we needed something that we needed to fall back on if athletic did not work in our favor. So going on to college, I graduated from LSU with a bachelor's in psychology and English literature. And I followed in the footsteps of my great coach, Denise Williams, because again, I wanted to give back. I wanted to work with children. I wanted to make sure that they were inspired by me and inspired by the work that we were doing, not just being an athlete, but being great student athletes. So yes, Michael, definitely. Like I felt like I learned a lot, and I felt like it's time to give back, and to also just be there for our athletes, student athletes, I should say, as much as possible. So again,
And,
I am so glad that y'all completed school.
and just before you joined, they were speaking about the discipline, how it was like for you to maintain that discipline in terms of your academics, training, and competing.
Again, that goes back to what do you really want in life? Of course, growing up in Grenada, we all know that we wanted to be something. Even though we didn't know how far we would go, we know that we wanted to be something better than what we were at that point. So again, for me, I knew that I wanted to be great at whatever it is that I did. But in order to do that, I had to be disciplined. And it's very helpful when you go to a school and you have coaches and educators who are like on you all the time, letting you know, like, I'm not going to give up. You're not going to just give me the bare minimum. You are going to be great. You are going to go to class. You are going to study. Just having them there for us as much as we needed them, and being thankful by making sure we went on to school and did well so that they would see us as the produce of what they actually work for. Um, Being disciplined for me was always something that I knew I would do. Like, you didn't really have to push me that much because I knew what I wanted in life, and I knew in order to get it, I had to be disciplined, not just on the field, but also in the classroom as well.
Here's when so, you at the time when you were at LSU, there were a number of Grenadians, I should say, who were actually at schools, various schools,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was Essex, Central Arizona, and went through to colleges and things. Of recent, we have seen a dearth, few Grenadians getting into the U.S. colleges and especially through the scholarship program and things like that. So is there a concern? Is there a concern that we haven't had that many Grenadians moving on and taking opportunities of the scholarships that are available?
Yes, it is a great concern. I do think times have changed. Again, I don't think a lot of our student athletes back home understand what it means to be great, or what it means to be disciplined in order to get where you need to. I'm not in Grenada, so I can't really say exactly what is being done and what's not being done. But I know you have to have great coaches, you have to have great support systems, and you also have to have athletes that want the best for themselves. Again, you can do all that you can as a coach, you can do all that you can as an educator, but if the athlete themselves don't see and don't understand the importance of, first of all, being disciplined, making sure they go to school, making sure they take care of their business in the classroom, going to bed on time, staying out of the parties or whatever it is they may be doing, just molding yourself, growing yourself, and understanding that you're competing with a lot of people around the Caribbean for those scholarships. And in order to get them, you're going to have to give your all. You're going to have to be your best. You're going to have to be disciplined. And I'm very concerned because I know we have a lot of talents back home, but I'm not sure as to what's going on to where we're not producing the caliber of athletes that I know that we can, and getting those scholarships, because the scholarships are available. But again, you're competing with everyone in the Caribbean for those scholarships. So it's who won it the most, and what will you do in order to get it? How disciplined are you going to be? How much work are you going to put in? And back then, I mean, we practiced on Sundays. We practiced when even our coaches stated we didn't have to practice. We knew what we wanted, and we worked really hard for it.
Okay, and while we're in that, before the athletes come back and comment on some of what you have said, the there has always been a question of what TAMCC and the role TAMCC plays in terms of the development of our student athletes, even for those who would have moved on and to colleges in the United States. Do you think that TAMCC, in terms of sports development in Grenada, should be playing a bigger role? You sort of disappointed that they're not being involved in terms of the development of these athletes. Many people have said that TAMCC, um, you know, brings in most of the the athletes from the various schools, the secondary schools in particular, from all over the island. And it appears that when they get into TAMCC, their athletic career basically ended abruptly.
I'm very concerned. Again, that goes back to what resources we have that's being provided by our government, by our sports athletic department, or by TAMCC. What resources are being provided for student athletes? And again, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have resources and if you don't have the support system in place, it's easy for students to feel like they're not motivated, or they don't feel like they can reach their full potential because there is no support system in place. For us, we were fortunate to have our coach Denise Williams, and also like our principal Miss Ferguson, and several educators at St. David Secondary who really and truly went above and beyond for us. So again, I encourage and advise everyone, like, please get involved. Be dedicated. I know we're living in a different time, and it might be difficult to get student athletes where they need to be. But again, if we really want Grenada to be on top, and we really want to have all of our students back home to live up to the expectations and really and truly do well, we need to have the support. We need to have the resources. Again, we're not too small of an island and not to produce good athletes. We have other small Caribbean islands doing it, so why can't we do it?
Okay, and any comments from any of the athletes? Quite a mouthful from the experience.
Yeah, now the biggest takeaway, and I was about to make that point as well, is having that support team around you and with you, because this journey could be torturing, it could be depressing at times, but you gotta have people around you who can really motivate you and help remind you of your purpose, and as to why you're doing this, and reassure you of your goals and your ambitions. So yeah, having a great support team is really crucial to your career as a track and field athlete, and also as a student athlete.
Um, with the support group, I remember having a conversation with Coach Paul before leaving to come to the US, and one of the things he said to me was that you're going out of track blazers to represent, and it's my duty to set the pathway for the younger athletes. And that conversation that we had, it has stuck with me through some troubling times, like getting up early in the morning for practice. I'm like, okay, this is not just for me. The younger athletes coming up, they're looking up to me. I'm basically a test run, right? So me getting through this wasn't just okay, I'm doing this for me. I had to keep in mind that they're back at home trying to find a way to get here too, and I have to set that pathway for them. So
Yeah. And Amanda is back with us. Smiling Amanda. Well, Amanda, I don't know if you have heard of Hazel and Regis back at LSU. In the days, she's with us, and 400-meter specialist. Um, that would have been your thing. I trust that you will probably go onto YouTube or go somewhere, and you will find some of that of Hazel and blazing the track, both indoor and outdoor. But before I get back to Hazel, what's your takeaway, Amanda?
Um, it's definitely the bar is set very high. I'm happy that Grenada had some female athletes that really did a good job and, you know, set the pathway for everyone else. So
Okay. And Hazel, apart from Amanda now in the 400, you must be concerned that there is.
I
Uh,
am.
I, and I know what you will say about that. But share your concern about the 400.
Well, honestly, I Amanda, you may not know me, but I know a lot about you. I communicate with your mom a lot on Facebook as well. Um, when I first saw you ran, I was like, oh my God, my 50.64 Grenadian record is about to be destroyed. Yes, I was concerned. And my 50.9, whatever that is, indoors, is
Indoor.
about to be gone. So again, I know records are meant to be broken, sweetheart. And by all means necessary, please go out there and break it if you have to. It's about time. I'm here. I'm gonna support you in that way. Um, I don't mind being number two. You have great talent. I mean, all of you. You guys may not hear from me a lot, but I do keep up with what's going on with you. I'm friends with y'all on Facebook, and I do keep up with what's going on. And Michael does a great job of informing us as well. So again, if you need some a little tips of how to really execute that 400 meter, just let me know. I'm here for that. Again, I'll give you enough so you can be close enough to the record, not close enough to break it.
And what about yeah, well, that's Amanda, but isn't you concerned too that not we don't have that many female athletes in particular, especially in the
Oh yes,
400. Back in your days, you know that there were so many up and coming athletes that were competing, even though some of them fell, by the wayside. But in terms of being competition, we had quite a few, right?
yes, I am concerned for the development itself for female athletes in Grenada, and I think I've always been concerned with that. And I know a lot of the times people talk about gender not playing a role, but if we really look back and we think about um, female athletes in Grenada, we've noticed that we really don't have a lot. Why? That's a question. We need to really dig deep into finding out why are our female athletes not being either not successful enough, or why are there not enough female athletes out there on the track. Um, and I can speak for myself because again, I think I've started this. Going back to Pan American Games, I was the first athlete in Grenada to win a medal for in at Pan Am Games. I don't know how many people remember that, but I was, and being the first female in anything is very, very important. So I am concerned, and I think it's my duty and my responsibility as a former Grenadian athlete to do as much as I can, work alongside whoever I have to in Grenada to increase the number of female athletes participating in track and field, and not only participating but getting scholarships and being the next me or the next Amanda or whoever it is, because we have to keep that tradition. But I also encourage not just our athletes here today, but just all of our Grenadians out there, like support us, even if we're not um, winning gold medals, even if we're not coming second place, just support us because I feel like the biggest thing here is Whenever you're doing well, you get all the support. When you're not doing well, you get no support. And that right there could break an athlete to the point where they feel they're like, you know what, forget this. So I think like encouraging and supporting our athletes, regardless of how well they're doing, is very, very important. And that's just not for Grenada, but I think that plays a role in how athletes feel in terms of when I'm on top, everyone loves me. When I'm not, I don't get that level of support, and that could definitely discourage you from wanting to participate in this sport.
Okay, then what's a nice way to give it? And we have Hazel come back to do the wrap, so we get ready now for the athletes individually. Starting with Amanda. It's a wrap on the program, and Amanda, finally, what we can look forward for Amanda in the next few months, probably before the end of the year.
I think the next year I'm really gonna. It's kind of like all or nothing next year. So the main meet that I'm looking forward to, and I know most of the athletes are looking forward to, is the Olympics. And just to talk about a little bit about what Hazel was saying, I think that, well, in my opinion, I think that one of the main issues that we have, or Grenadian athletes have, female athletes, is that there's not a strong enough pipeline from just college coaches knowing, being able to call up a coach and saying, hey, I have this girl, she's really good, I'll tell you her times, or I'll show you her times. Does she have a place on your team? So I just think that it's more about networking and just more people getting to know each other and connection. There's um, there's coaches from other countries that can, recruit somebody with just a call. So I think that those are some of the things that we need to, in order to get more female athletes better scholarships, because there are talented girls in Grenada. They just don't have the amount of access and the connections that some of the other countries do.
And I totally agree with Amanda. And I think because our athletes are not familiar with the whole process and the whole United States of how things work, we have to have adults step up and create that network and that pipeline. We need to make sure that our coaches or people who are working with our athletes back home are networking. I mean, of course, I'm here. I am still closely connected with LSU. And for a few of the people that, if you reach out to me and let me know, I definitely would work with you. I mean, I still communicate with Denise Williams, of course, my second mom. And as much as we can help, we will help. But I think it starts with the people who are actually supporting back home. If you need that connection, if you have people that are doing well, if you need our support, let us know. And I personally have reached out to people and haven't heard back from them. So that's like a red flag for me. Again, reach out to former athletes. Though we are here, we are ready to support, but it needs to be some type of what it needs to be some type of committee working on that. Maybe that will be helpful, because individually reaching out to people and not getting feedback from them can be something, again, that's like, okay, well, I guess they don't want my help. But we should have a committee of some sort that work with people here in the United States, whether it's myself or other former athletes, to kind of network and share information with college coaches, because I think that's important. Networking is definitely important.
Yeah, and I want to agree with you, Hazel, that a lot of times we point fingers, and sometimes it has to do a lot with personal responsibility. So if the athletes themselves are serious, they and they're big enough, they're mature enough, they should be able to reach out, seek information. Whether I mean, for example, quite a number of them on social media. There's
Yes,
easy for you
definitely.
to probably find an athlete, find out information, and network among yourself. And I'm certain if an athlete reach out to you trying to get some information, you will be available to provide that information to them. Ali, while we on the wrap up, what are your plans for the remainder of the year and into the start of the 2021 season?
Yeah, my plans remain the same. Is just to stay ready for anything to come. Whether it be in September or October, or if we have an indoor season here in New York, we may not know what is happening, but yeah, the goal is just to stay ready, stay sharp, and just keep perfecting the craft, and reap the rewards when it's time.
Okay, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I know that this Candicia Scott will be throwing again.
Um, Before I get into that, to add to the topic before, I feel like the the athletic association or some group of people back home needs to like get familiarized with the NCAA rules and what is expected of athletes back home and upon arrival to schools in the US, because like I've seen it has happened to me where I've came to the US and I lost eligibility because of things that I did back home in school, like going back for another year, which seemed normal to me at first when I was at home, but then reaching in the US, then I got penalized for it. And I
Mhm.
just lost a year, but I know Nathan Hood as well. He was penalized to where he couldn't enter into any D1 schools because of the same reason. So they took his 2 D1 years from him, where I just lost one. So I feel like they need to be familiarized with those things to help athletes before leaving to come to school to the US. Um,
I totally agree.
yeah. So my plans basically just, as I said, finding another school to attend, which basically I've already found one that they offered me a full scholarship to come to do my master's and to compete, start back competing and put out some good marks for them, which I guess they like the coach that I'm talking about at Louisiana. He um he was at Central Arizona College for some time while I was there, like probably like 2 months before I left. He came in, so I spent some time working with him, and I trust that his knowledge of the javelin would help me to reach where I want to reach. So
Yeah,
That's
man.
awesome. Does that mean you're going to be close to me? Is that what you're saying?
yeah,
Well, guess what? I'm going to inbox you as soon as I get off this webinar.
okay,
I am going to inbox you. But honestly, I am here. And again, I'm on Facebook. I think the only person I'm not friends with on here is Ali.
Well,
So I
that
will be adding. So,
yeah, that is for now. By the time we finish, that has to be. Yeah, we
right?
have to take care of that.
Um, Definitely. And Michael, I really appreciate you having this. I think this needs to happen more. I also really thankful that you talk about the NCAA rules and all this stuff, because again, that is something that we definitely need to know.
yeah.
Yeah, and just before I give you that opportunity to give the wrap, Hazel, um, I will give you that opportunity. I will wrap up. You will wrap up. No, but some very good takeaway in truth. It has to do with what you said in terms of the personal responsibility. What Candisha talked about in terms of those in Grenada familiarizing themselves with the NCAA rules, because we know back in your days, Hazel, and the rules have changed. Some,
Yes.
almost every year they have new changes, eligibility, all these sort of things are changing. So they need to familiarize themselves and the athlete themselves, especially if they have intentions of going off to colleges in the US. They need to know what is expected. And unfortunately, as Kandisha said, a lot of athletes are falling into that trap, not knowing, thinking that what they're doing is normal, But if they have intentions of going into the NCAA, they can be penalized, and it's very important that the folks in Grenada familiarize themselves with the NCAA rules and regulations, and also those who interested, especially their parents who, for some reason or the other, have interest in their kids, attending colleges, and they too need to understand it's not just leaving it up to the association or the clubs or the athletes
Mhm.
themselves, but the parents also need to familiarize themselves with the rules and regulations regarding NCAA, and not just track and field, because they have those who go into football, they go into basketball, and other sporting disciplines. But the mere fact that they need to acclimatize themselves and familiarize themselves with the rules and regulations. All over to you, Hazel, to give us a wrap. And on behalf of all the athletes there, I want to say thank you for joining us. And as someone says, let's go Tigers. Still a pro Tiger.
Yeah,
You're
can't,
part of the
can't give it
legacy.
up.
Yeah, and you're part of the legacy of Tigers. In fact, you type in LSU Tigers and female athletes, you must see the name Hazel, and it just comes up. Hazel, it's over to you now to give a wrap.
Okay, well, I just want to say again, thanks for having me on here, and it's really, really great to see all of you guys. I hope we can do this more often. I am here to support as much as I can. You can find me on Facebook. That's the only social media I am on. Just thankful for having the opportunity, and just want to continue to encourage all of our student athletes and all of our athletes back home who is really working and striving to be the best that it can be. Any way that I can support and help with the transition from home to the United States, I am available to help, whether it's learning about the NCAA rules or just giving advice. I am here for that. So just let me know. And again, thank you, all of you, and we hope to see you guys soon.
Thank you, Hazel.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
guys.
much. That's a wrap. Thank you very much. And thank you to all those who have been watching. We appreciate your
Love you guys.
Yeah.
Good luck.
thank you, man.
Peace.